Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go ahead to the other side while he dismissed the crowd. And after he had dismissed the crowd, he went up the mountains by himself to pray. When evening came, he was there alone, but by this time the boat, battered by the waves, was far from the land, where the wind was against them. And early in the morning he came, walking towards them on the sea. But when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified, saying, "It is a ghost." And they cried out in fear. But immediately Jesus spoke to them and said, "Take heart, it is I, do not be afraid." Peter answered him, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." He said, "Come." So Peter got out of the boat, started walking on the water, and came towards Jesus. But when he noticed the strong wind, he became afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me." Jesus immediately reached out his hand and caught him, saying to him, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" When they got into the boat, the wind ceased, and those in the boat worshiped him, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God." The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Well, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm going to begin with something that is more of an announcement. Not one I'm really happy to make, but it's all right. God is with us. So we learned just a couple of days ago what I had suspected for a little while and had been in process. We are missing some mail. Some mail is getting stolen from our mailbox. I have it on video. So that made for some excitement Friday night. So I want to assure you of a few things. I am safe. We have cameras in place. There are case reports in place, and we're working with a detective. This has been unfolding over a couple of weeks with some curious things. So unfortunately, here's what I have to ask of you. Don't mail checks to St. Aidan's right now. We are doing our best to collect mail every day. And if you mailed a check to St. Aidan's since July 16th, I need you to let us know. You can email me, and we will make sure it's in our deposit box. I don't think many are missing, but I don't know because we're not in the habit of always knowing when you're sending something. You can let me know when I pop into the breakout rooms at coffee hour or by email. We'll be taking care of that. So please don't mail checks until September. I never thought I'd say that as your rector. I think I've always said I never met a check we wouldn't take. That's not always true either, but this, I wanted to let you know as soon as possible. And if you have other questions and concerns, please please email. We're getting to the point where you can come talk to me, but not quite there yet. I had to remind myself, of course, because we have a locked, secure mailbox. I had tried to stick my arm in there and figure it out. I apparently just don't have very good technique, because you can. I couldn't. Someone else could. But I had to remind myself that there is no shame in being a victim. We're a world that sometimes doesn't live or operate that way, right? And I'm going to go back to sharing the screen because I have some pictures to share with you today. How could we listen to that gospel and not have pictures, right? And And these are awfully good lessons for us to have today. So, of course, fishing in a boat, calm and beautiful. Isn't this what we hope or wish life could be like, right? And this is what Jesus did. He's actually off up in the mountains. Every step in the last few weeks, something happens. Jesus goes up to the mountains to pray. Something else happens. Jesus goes up to the mountains and pray. We should learn from that. The disciples go out fishing and a storm comes up. So here's one picture. Of course, it takes a while to find pictures that work that are also in the public domain, and we can use them when we're broadcasting live. I'm not much of a seafarer, but I imagine this is terrifying in every possible way. The boat is getting swamped. Just pause for a moment. How many times in the last couple of weeks might you have said, I know I have, I'm feeling a little swamped. Well, here we go. Here's the boat. And then, of course, there's more fear, right? They see Jesus walking toward them. They say, it's a ghost. Peter says, show us it's you. Jesus says, come walk to me, step out of the boat. The waves keep coming and coming and coming. And sometimes life is like that. The waves just keep coming, right? And then Peter begins to notice the things around him. He gets afraid. He says, Jesus, save me. Jesus does. He reaches out his hand, catches him, says, you of little faith, why did you doubt? And then they get in the boat. The wind ceases. There's one more, right? That's a famous one, Christ in the boat. And they worship him and they say, truly, this was the Son of God. So one of the characteristics of pandemic life that is the hardest for me to live with and deal with, it's not just the pandemic, it's also life right now in the 21st century, is fear is all around us. Fear is all around us. It governs what errands we do, what things we don't do, the people we see, the people we don't see. Will I get this virus? Will people I love get this virus? And that leads to all sorts of other fears. Will I get a job? Do I have a job? Will I have money? Will I run out? Will my kids be okay with another year of online school? Certainly, the fact that I put a camera up by our mailbox was driven by some worries, right? So now we can add that. Is our mail going to get taken? What else might be happening at the building? All of those things. I think if I were to unmute you all, we could have this chorus of fears and worries. They are not wrong. Fear is a human thing, right? It's part of how we stay alive. Fear on its own, fear without an anchor, fear without something to hang on to is soul killing. I worry about the climate of suspicion we have around everything and everybody. When I've met friends occasionally with the kids over at the church parking lot so the kids can ride their bikes with face masks and we can talk with face masks sitting 6 feet apart. It's been lovely. But my friends notice how I watch like a hawk every single car that comes into our parking lot. Not the way I want to be, but in fact, I am. So fear is all around us. The waves of fear keep coming. I don't think you needed those pictures even. to understand the storms on the sea and what Jesus did. So now, let us talk about Joseph. You might have noticed that we changed from our reading in Romans. We've been reading from the book of Romans seemingly forever, not as long as we've been suffering from this virus, but maybe almost as long. But I changed for the next few weeks because, as you know, if you've been around long enough, the narrative of Joseph is the single best narrative in the entire Old Testament. It is our pattern of life. It is a family drama that unfolds in several stages. It is a story of withholding vengeance and returning forgiveness. It is absolutely, outside of Jesus, the best story in the book. We're just at the very beginning in this lesson, right? And young Joseph is sold into slavery by his brothers, and then he's sent off to Egypt. I had the opportunity I think it was right before Christmas, Rabbi Green invited me to be a guest teacher in their Torah study on Saturday mornings, and I leapt at the chance, and it was looking at this narrative because it is so rich for both those who follow Jesus and Jews and many others. I want to invite you this week to read it. You can do a couple of things. You can read chapters 37 through 50 on your own. Just sit down and do it. It'll take about 20 minutes. You won't be able to put it down. Not all parts of the Bible are like that. Or if you're pressed for time, just pick up Psalm 105 and read the parts that Bev and Rose read so beautifully. That's the really short version, kind of the Cliff Notes. So you can do that too. So what the story of Joseph tells us is this: the waves keep coming for him. It was not his fault that he was perhaps destined to be killed by his brothers, except for Reuben, who chose rightly. It was not his fault that he was sold into slavery. He ended up in Egypt, and as the story unfolds, he rises to power and serves beautifully, honorably, justly, for the good of not only Egypt in a famine, but vast expanses of the rest of the world. It's a great story. So what the story of Joseph tells us has everything to do with what do we do in the midst of a storm or when the fears surround us and overwhelm us? What do you do when you have control over almost nothing? Joseph teaches us that you simply be faithful with what you have where you are. Do the best with what you have when you can, in all situations, that you will be given power to turn violence into forgiveness, to turn betrayal into something new. You see, it reminds us, and we need these words today. The antidote to fear is not recklessness. Sometimes we see that in the news. I don't care about this virus. I'm going to do what I want. God will keep me. That's not a statement of faithfulness. God gave us brains and bodies and hearts and minds. The antidote to fear is not recklessness, it is faithfulness. What has God taught me about caring for myself and those around me, about preserving life? The antidote to fear is not denial, it is discernment. Going back to the screen for a moment. Now, of course, I'm afraid of getting sued, so there's a picture I can't show you because I couldn't figure out how to get the rights to show it to you, but I'm going to invite you to draw it in your hearts and minds right now. The most faithful pictures that you see of this gospel of Jesus calming the storm when he says, "Lord, save me," and he reaches out his hand and catches him and says, "You have little faith, why did you doubt?" The most powerful picture looks like this. You can draw it on your own. It's an overhead shot, blue, deep, beautiful blues. And in the center, there's a little circle or an oval where the boat is. And it's light and calm. I should have told you to get crayons and paper before we started all this. And then all around that little circle, are waves and frightening things, just scribbles all around. That's what life in faithfulness is like. Grasp the peace and hang on to the love that you can find and share and extend. That the fears and the waves will keep coming. And help will come not from ourselves, but from Jesus, who will reach out his hand and who will save us. One more thing about Joseph. We only get a couple of lessons on Sunday mornings. That's why I really want you to read the whole thing. And at the very beginning of Exodus, I think it's chapter 3 in Exodus. Exodus, of course, being the story, the passage through the Red Sea, being the story that is stamped on our Christian life. It is freedom from slavery. It is God leading the people through death into life. It is the print for the Easter story. Right as that story begins, do you know what it says? It says, "There rose in Egypt a Pharaoh who did not know Joseph." That we can forget that as a church, we are called to be people of deep forgiveness and love and witness to the love of God. So let us not forget Joseph. Instead, let us know him. And then in all the ways our lives are constrained, we have control to be faithful, to be loving, to find those still moments of prayer, to find those pictures that you're sending in so faithfully of beauty and hope and peacefulness, to find that anchor to hang on to. Because Jesus will calm the storm. He's the only one who can. Amen. So I have a few announcements, and then I'll go backwards to one slide. So next Sunday, August 16th, is Hat Sunday. So first of all, raise your hand if you're not wearing flip-flops to church this morning. Well, good on some of you. I certainly am. But we can't see each other and we can't know. So next Sunday is Hat Sunday. I think I'll wear this one. We'll see. So we'll enjoy that next week. Announcements you've already heard. Forward Day by Day is available at church. We can mail it to you. We can do outgoing mail. We're just taking it to the post office. We can mail it to you if you would like. It's easier if you come pick it up. There's a blue plastic box by the mailbox by the chapel door. They're in there. And if you are looking for work or have skills or connections to help those who are looking for work, some of you have reached out to me already. Please let me know. Don't unmute just yet because I'm going backwards. Coming soon, and in the email you'll get tomorrow, I am so amazed and in love with this. Several of you are working to lead and to support these small groups that can be anchors in the storm over the next couple of weeks. There's going to be a writers' small group, an anti-racism book group, support for job seekers, Care for Creation, Grief and COVID-19, and COVID-19 and Grief. It's such a mix. And a Bible and book study using Getting Involved with God by Ellen Davis. This is amazing. I am so proud of you and so grateful for you. Over the next couple of weeks, we'll be getting people involved and getting those groups formed. And then my hope is that maybe by the last week of August, those groups might start meeting by Zoom. And we'll meet for 6 to 8 weeks through October and see how we are doing. I have found that I love Zoom church. I love our big gatherings. I have also found that I need some small places where there's fewer tiles on the screen to have some of the deep community and sharing that we need. So you'll be getting this by email. You don't have to write it down, but you can. And you can sign up for all of them if you want. You don't, but that would be a lot of books. But I'd love it if everyone could be involved in some group. We also have ongoing groups. Our Wednesday 7 a.m. Eucharist. There's a Wednesday Bible study at 10 that I think Carol Daw and Jillian are still leading. The choir functions that way. So there's lots of ways to get connected during the week, and here are some great new ones. So now get ready to unmute your microphone. I have to let you do that, right? All right, get ready to unmute. And may the peace of the Lord be always with you.
And also
with
you.
Peace.
You.
Peace.
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 Everybody.
Peace.
Hi, Jackie.
With you.
Can you wave hi?
Peace. Carol. Peace.
Carol.
Peace, Chris. Mother Steve.
Peace to everybody.
Hi, Jade.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Karen.
Hi, Sherry.
Hi, Jane.
Glory. Good to see Edgar, too.
Let's see.
Hi,
Deanna. Peace. Hello. Hello, everybody.
Oh, we'll have coffee hour at home.
Fran.
Right.
Peace, Katie. Peace, Rose.
So I just muted all of you in the midst of the piece. I want to make a couple of welcomes. So Sarah Soki's parents are joining us today, and here they are. I'm going to unmute you so you can say hi. And actually, I think all of you can unmute yourselves. It was their 50th anniversary, I think, yesterday. So congratulations. And
Thank you.
Yeah. And so nice to have you. We just adore Sarah and her family, and thank you for making them. And it looks like Jenny's here with baby Owen. Maybe you shouldn't unmute because we don't want to wake him up, right? Good morning, Jenny.
Good morning. He says hi. Still snoozing.
There he is. You love him. Matthew Stolte has joined us again, and I'm trying to see if we've got other guests. There you are, Matthew. Nice to see you. You don't have to say anything if you don't want to. Hello.
Hello.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
And I think Molly is looking good today. Nice to see you again. They're waving up there. Let's go. Here we go. I made you big on my screen. I don't know if you're big on everyone else's screen. Good to see you, Molly. I like your red sweater. We'll go back to this. The music this morning is a song from the choir that Sarah put together and recorded. In my life, this song is among the most beautiful in our hymnal. It's 711 or 712, I can't remember. This is my song that I sing when I need a little bit of peace. You're gonna love this, it's just beautiful. And see, we changed the note, don't mail checks until further notice. we'll figure out some way to keep funding our church.
Thanks, everyone. Did you get it? Did you hit record? I hope so. Oh, it's awesome. Okay.
Let us now say together the Apostles' Creed. I believe in God, the Father Almighty, creator of